Hi, everybody, and welcome to the T on Realty. I'm your host, Rachel Jackson, a broker associate with Exit Real Estate Gallery. I just want to welcome you all to another episode of the T on Realty. I'm really excited about getting back into doing the podcast on a more regular basis. I did stop for some time. I do apologize for those that have been following and listening and waiting for the next episode. But I did wanted to step in and make sure that I start doing my episodes again on a regular basis. So I apologize in the future. I will do my best now to make sure that I get you an episode out at least once a week. Um, but if you're not, make sure you're following me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube because sometimes I do post additional things on those platforms, little snippets and everything like that that might not require me to do like a full blown full video. So just keep following me on those platforms and we'll be able to get you all in touch with some things and just with following through. All right, so let's get into the tea on realty because this is a topic that I know I've talked about many times before, but I always like to keep talking about it because it's very important. And a lot of people don't know it or they don't, I want to say they're not sure about it. So when they do it, I just always like them to understand the process. And this process I'm talking about is just a process of buying. Like the path to home ownership is like so important now. And I'm getting more and more calls and information and people reaching out wanting to know, what is their path to home ownership. So with that being said, I just want to make another video about let's talk about the path to home ownership, okay? For a really good second here. So the a lot of main things that, questions that I always ask people when they do start or they want to do this process because these are very important topics and very important questions is have I, or you should ask yourself these questions, or if I was talking to you, I would be asking you these questions as a real estate agent. Have you, and you should be asking yourself where it says you, say I, have you had a steady job for a while with a reliable income? That's just really self explanatory. Do you work? Have you been working for a while? I mean, the longer you work that one job, the better. But just working, you need to have a job. Or if you're self employed, then your self employment. So that's definitely always a question that you that's the main key is if you're going to be getting borrowing money, you need to show that you can pay it back. And the best way to do that would be by having a job or source of income. Legal source of income. You would think I wouldn't have to say that term, but in this day and age, I gotta say it. You gotta have a legal source of income. So make sure that you have a legal source of income. All right. Do you have enough money saved for a down payment and closing costs? Because although we have a lot of programs out here that always say we have down payment and program assistance, yes, but let's say you don't qualify for that right now, meaning your credit score is below a 640 because in our area, in our um district and county, Duval and Clay around, you got to have a 640. And I'm pretty sure if it's like that here, it's, pretty much across the board, but I can't speak for other counties. Those are the counties that I mainly work in. So you got to have a 640 and above to qualify for down payment assistance. But if you don't have that money to pay for down payment assistance, do you have this money saved? Because like I always tell people is save the money for a down payment and pray you don't need it. Because then guess what? Now that's money that one you can either put toward your mortgage, first mortgage payment, you already got that in the books, or a down payment and actually still put it down on your home. But you can't always expect that the portion of the closing costs that the seller's going to pay. Yes, if you are buyers, you're buying, your agent could definitely ask the seller's agent, do they mind paying some of your closing costs and prepaids? But sometimes it's not 100% because we as agents have to talk to the lenders who you're if you're borrowing and ask them how much can you ask for as far as percentage wise from a seller to pay towards your closing costs, because sometimes the maximum typically is about 3% of closing costs or prepays that a buyer can ask the seller to pay. But we always, as an agent, I always ask the lender, what is that? What is the max amount that I can ask the seller to pay for? And that's what I usually shoot for if it's needed. Everybody doesn't need down payment assistance. So therefore, every offer that I write, I'm not going to write for any seller concessions. So I might not need it, or you might not need it. But you need to save as though you need it, because if you do have to pay for this, you don't want to be saying like, I ain't got no money to save. Save your money every tax season. Put something away. You know, my goal for me every year at tax season, if I get a tax return back, is if I can, whatever I get back, if it's a couple of thousands, hopefully, if not, but my goal is whatever I got back from my taxes, I want to have half of that next year tax time. And for the last couple of years, I've been able to maintain that. Like whatever I got back from my taxes, I split that in half, and I was able to keep or still have half of my taxes that I did receive, thank God, next year when I filed again this previous year. I don't know if that's going to work out this year or if I'm even going to get anything back, but that's my goal. That's what I tell myself, because most people, we know, they get their money back during tax time. I know this. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been getting whatever for a long time. Before I got into real estate, I was a regular. I'm still a regular worker. I work hard for my money, right? So save for your down payment. Next question. Down the path to homeownership. Do you have a reasonable, strong credit history with a score of at least a 600? At least. Now, don't get me wrong, because I know lenders that can lend to you at a 580. And now I'm starting to see some that will actually say they'll lend to you at a 550. Awesome. So, but you want to shoot for 600 minimum. If you want down payment assistance programs, you need to shoot for a 641 and up. I say it's 640 and up, but I say shoot for 641 and up. You know, I set my standards high as far as that. I mean, if you could barely make the minimum of the 640, then by God, make the 640. But shoot for 641 and up. But if you just want a halfway decent mortgage, and then you're in a position where you gotta buy right now, you need to make sure you have some down payment assistance saved and closing costs saved, have a job, been working for a while, and you have at least a decent credit score of a 600. Of course, you know, we check all these different credit wises. Mortgage credit is different from the credit stuff that you be seeing and credit wise. So I always like to tell people, right, you need to make sure that you are, if you're going to be borrowing money from a lender, make sure the money that you're going to be borrowing, you get the insight from the people you're borrowing from, because they could tell you best on how or what you need to do in order to get this money that you want to get from them. Do you plan on living in the house that you buy at least for a few years? And that's a question that's coming up more and more, because I have a customers that are asking about, they have a home, but they want to buy a home and they want to use it as an investment property. You can buy investment properties, but the qualifications for you purchasing a second home, especially if you already have mortgage on one home. If you're paying a mortgage on one home, if you're going to be borrowing this money again, like I said, if you're paying cash for things, a lot of these things might not apply to you if you're paying cash. But if you want to borrow money, the company who you're borrowing it from has rules. They have rules for you, and you need to follow those rules. So, and if you want to borrow money from XYZ Credit Union or so and so lending, you need to talk with their mortgage department, lending department, not car the lending department. You need to talk with the mortgage department, because they're the one that's going to be able to tell you about getting a mortgage from them, right? Right. So when you're doing that and continuing on your path of homeownership, just those are some key things. Next thing that you should definitely, after you've done all those things, as far as getting your credit score, making sure you've been working, saving up your money for your down payment, getting your credit score right, when and all those things, and deciding if this is going to be your primary home, because depending on, and I say this too because if sometimes if you purchase a home under a certain type of financing, um especially if you're getting down payment assistance, you cannot rent that home out for a certain period of time. So if you think that you're going to get a home on down payment assistance and rent it out immediately, no, can't have it. You cannot rent that home out. Don't quote me, but I do believe for 5 years, you got to have the home for 5 years before you can rent it out. If you use down payment assistance program, you get approved of that and use that money. I believe you have to live in the home, physically live in that home for at least 5 years. So you might want to decide if you are planning to want to use that home as a rental property. You might not want to go down payment assistance route. I'm just saying. You don't want to get in no trouble down the line. Have to come up with a lot of money up front. So after you've gotten those things down, the next thing is getting pre-approved. Now, and that's before you start really house searching, and before you start, it's very important for you to know how much you can afford and are you approved for it. Because I have really big dreams and really big high hopes about what I want. What I want. And my husband tells me this all the time. It's not about what you want, Rachel. What do you need? What can you know what I'm saying? So you might want that house over there, but that house might not be the house that you can actually afford. So before you actually start reaching out people to go and doing home searches and having them viewing homes with you, you need to go to the bank or the lender and find out how much you can actually afford to buy. And that's based upon your job history, your income, all that stuff, your credit score, which you should have been doing all those things before you even reached out to a realtor about wanting this process. And then they could tell you how much you qualified for. And then I would say set a budget for yourself. Set a budget. You know you want to start this home buying process. You know you're going to have to possibly have some down payment money. If you don't, lucky you. But, if you do have to come out of your pocket, set a budget starting like yesterday. Like, okay, I used to go to Starbucks and spend $8 on the coffee because, I'm not a Starbucks person. I'm a Dunkin' Donuts. I don't even drink real coffee. I drink decaf. So I'm always iced decaf with Dunkin' Donuts, right? That's what I drink when I do drink coffee. I'm not a big coffee drinker, right? So I would say to myself, if I know I drink Dunkin' Donuts coffee 3 times a week, I would cut it back to 2. I'm not even gonna lie. I would start out with cutting it back to 2. My Dunkin' Donuts coffee is not that expensive to me, so but just an example, that's what I would do. And then as it's gotten closer to my closing, so I might cut it back to like 1 a week, like getting pushing. Even though really, I might spend $10 a week on coffee if I do go out there, but that $10 adds up to $40 a month full time. $10 a week, that's $40 a month. That's $120 for 3 months. I don't know. If you spending $10 on the coffee somewhere else, then it might be a little more. Or if you literally buy coffee 7 days a week, and if you buy coffee more than once a day, yeah. So be sure to understand what you can afford. In addition to your monthly mortgage payment, so you might want to say you want to pay this amount of month for your mortgage, but you forget that you're going to have a light bill that you got to approximate what that light bill is going to be. If you have a car note, you got to put that into your budget as far as this new mortgage payment, this car note, this light bill, and any other bills that you already have. Car insurance, that's an ongoing lifetime thing if you have a car, never ending unless somebody paying it for you. Your credit cards, if you have any credit cards, any other revolving accounts that you have, groceries, because you got to eat, dog. So all those things is a part of your budget with your new mortgage. Now, there is a thing that I know, like typically, I see people that rent and they paid $1,600, $1,700 a rent. And I'm like, oh my God, if you actually was gonna rent this house, you know you could buy this house and pay way less than what you're gonna pay to rent this house. Like literally, you can pay less money to rent this house that you're literally. I mean, you could pay less to buy this house that you're gonna pay $1,600 on rent to if you just buy it. You know what I'm saying? So, but everybody's so scared. You know, for me, the scariness was in having to, I would say, pay for expenses if something was to break. And that's where a lot of people get held down is, oh my God, if the refrigerator breaks, I ain't gonna be able to pay for that. Oh my God, I gotta replace my stove. They always, and that was me, thinking of what could go wrong. But guess what? When you have a good realtor on your team, you actually, they should be telling you, or I will be telling you, you know, you need to get a home warranty, right? If you could get the seller to pay for 1 year, your first year, you should be awesome. After that, you should have your bills under control. You know, everything is going flowing around. By the time that renewal process come the next year, that $400 or $500, you could decide, okay, I want to wing things off. I don't need this whole full package. Now you get the whole full package when you first go in when somebody else paying for it. But when you paying for it, I know you might want to dial back. Don't dial back on the electrical and the plumbing and that kind of stuff now. You might dial back on the pool because you ain't got no doggone pool. So you don't need that pool plan. But you need something that's going to cover your refrigerator, your water heater, your AC, all electrical outlets. You need that kind of plan of a home warranty. So get out of that fear of if my refrigerator breaks. Because if you get a brand new refrigerator, a brand new house, 9 times out of 10, that refrigerator has a warranty for at least a year, 3 to 5 years. I'm just saying. Use it. Register your new appliances, people. Register them. All right. So another thing that you should do, you know, and I've already been saying this is, and I'll re-say it again because it's very important. Save your money. Save your money. Save your money. You'll need to save it. Because like I said, you might have to cover your closing costs. You might have to cover your down payment. You're gonna have to pay for an inspection if you choose to have one. Inspections are not required, but they are recommended. And I don't care if you're a first time, second time, third time, fourth time, fifth time, sixth time, seventh time, eighth time, ninth time, 10th time buyer. I'ma always ask you, you gonna get a home inspection? You wanna get a home inspection? You should. Even if you gonna tell me, Rachel, girl, I ain't had a home inspection the last 9 times I bought with you through you, girl. I ain't finna get none this 10 time. But guess what? It's on record that I asked you, cause I'm gonna ask you. You wanna get this? You sure you wanna get a home inspection on this house? You know what I'm saying? I always do that. Investor or non-investor, that's just what I do. So that's an expense that's gonna come out of your pocket as the buyer. So definitely get a home inspection if you can. If you can, if you truly just can't afford that expense, you might not should be. I'm just being real because I got to give you the tea on real. So if you literally cannot afford to pay for a home inspection, you might not need to be buying right now. And secondly, you definitely gonna need to have this money for your appraisal because that's definitely got to come out of pocket. So you got to have an appraisal is anywhere from $300 to $500 for the appraisal. And maybe as soon as you get on the contract on a home, your lender gonna be asking, okay, what card you gonna use to pay, or what bank card you gonna be using to pay this appraisal. That's an out of pocket expense. That's something that you gonna be having to save for. You can't get that from the seller. Now the seller ain't. I mean, I'm just saying everything in the contract is negotiable. So I ain't gonna say that a seller would never pay for a home inspection. I mean, a home inspection and their appraisal. But I think before they pay for that appraisal, you got to get approved from your lender because that's kind of like a gift in a sense. But that's on the initial end, upfrontly, that's literally your responsibility as a buyer to pay for your appraisal and your own home inspection and reinspection if it requires you to have a reinspection for if there was something that needed to be repaired, real major thing, not little petty little, oh, they got pictures on the wall holes. No, baby, we're not finna go through that. No, we're not finna be petty like that. So do those things. Keep boosting your credit score because the higher your credit score is, the more options you have for your mortgage, and your rates can be, oh my God, your rates can be so much better when your credit score is higher. You'd be like, oh, "Ooh, girl, they gave me like 1.9 or 2.5." I be like, "Ooh, girl, that's great." I'm still, listen, I'm a work in process myself. I tell people all the time, I have a story to tell. I've done a lot of the things that I tell customers to do. I've done these things before. I've tried these little tricks of the trades with the secure card, and not because I tried them because I just wanted to see what they were doing. No, I tried it because things in my own personal life required me to do these things. So that's how I know what certain things work. Like I said, I've paid credit repair people to attempt to fix my credit. Did not work for me, but I have literally seen it work for others. So it's every transaction is different. I always say that no transaction is the same. You cannot base your transaction based on someone else's transaction. You just can't do that. Yours is different from the next. So, with that being said, like I said, I just felt that I had to come in and bring that episode back to life because I know for a fact that right now a lot of people did set out this last past year with buying because of how it was a lot of expensive buying, a lot of overage buying. It's still a lot of expensive buying, still a lot of overage buying. That's not going anywhere anytime soon. But you can. There are still things that you can purchase with whatever you are qualified for. There are still some nice homes out here. If you want to wait, wait. I would never advise somebody to purchase something that they really truly did not feel they loved. I tell people you gotta at least see yourself here for 5 years. If you can only see yourself here for a year, this might not be a home you want to spend a mortgage on. If you was an investor, then maybe so, but not somewhere you're gonna spend your home on. So think of these key facts that I talked about. This is an ongoing topic, people. So there's never gonna be a time where getting on the path of home ownership is gonna be a dead topic. I'm gonna beat that horse in, however that terminology, beat it like a dead horse or whatever until, because there are every time that this topic does come around on a daily basis in my life because I run into new customers every day. But the listeners, I get new listeners every day, and some of them might not want to go way back to hear that one from 2 years ago, and the topics might be changing. The topics and the sayings never change because these are things that you have to do, people. You just got to do this. I'm just sorry. You just got to do this. So, with that being said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to this week's podcast and YouTube episode of the T on Realty with Rachel. I just want to thank everybody out in the community. It's almost finna be Thanksgiving. It's going to be coming up. So I hope you guys, wherever you're going, you travel safely. You make it there in time. You make it back safely. Enjoy your family if that's where you're going, or enjoy your own home in home, because I know things are not like they were last year, but I like to believe that they are much better, because even myself was able to celebrate. I had to put off a anniversary last year, and we had it this year, and I think by me waiting actually it turned out even better than I thought it was probably going to be last year if it was a regular year last year. So it was really nice. It's really nice to see people getting back into the community and just doing things in life. So um everybody just keep doing that. I just want you guys to keep learning and keep educating yourself. Keep following the podcast and sharing this information with everybody you know. Share it. Share it. So, we're getting ready to have our Thanksgiving ham. I want to thank everybody who's been helping with donating to us, to the T on Realty Incorporated, the nonprofit side of this. This is just me talking about real estate, the T with Rachel. But the T on Realty Incorporated has a platform. It's a nonprofit 501c3 nonprofit organization. So we do fundraisers throughout the year. We do a lot of giveaways. We do a lot of raffles. We do a lot of community give backs, like we're doing the Thanksgiving drive this year. We're so excited about that. So we've been doing a lot of fundraising and all of the little gifts and gamuts is trying to get the money up so we can get these hams, because we're going to be known as the ham organization. Like, everyone gives out a turkey. I'm not knocking the turkeys, but I've always been a ham person. And, people always, my husband has to tell me sometimes, it's not about you, Rachel. I'm like, but it say the T on Realty with Rachel. He said, yeah, on your show it is, but in life, it's not only about what you want. So everybody might not want ham. I say, I understand that, but I'm sure I know companies and businesses that do turkey drives, and I will refer them to those companies. But if they would like a ham from this Thanksgiving and every Thanksgiving that the Lord's allowing us to be able to provide, the T.O. Realty Incorporated will be having a ham drive for Thanksgiving. So be looking for that every year, Thanksgiving time. Reach out, say, hey, y'all having that Thanksgiving ham drive? Where it's gonna be? Where can I sign up? Because we do the tickets on Eventbrite. That's why we do mostly everything Eventbrite. So definitely go follow us on that. So thank you guys for tuning in. Follow me. Share my information. Take heed to my information. I hope I taught you something you didn't know yesterday, or I refurbished something you already knew, and maybe you will. I just like to be acting like I'm frozen sometimes because I've seen that on the movie. But anyways, follow the T on Realty on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, here on YouTube. Visit our website at www.thetonrealty.org, or if you're a .com, we got that one too. So whichever you prefer, give us a call if you have any questions. If you want to email us at info@thetonrealty.org. Reach out to us, guys, because we be here doing our thing. So thank you guys for tuning in today. Thank you so, so much. Have a wonderful, if I don't do another podcast for Thanksgiving, which I'm going to try to, have a wonderful Thanksgiving, everybody.